comes into shows like this, but you've gone straight off the bat with a big one.
Well, it's actually, I did 3 years of fights outside of Boxing Board of Control with a fella called Lenny McLean back in those days. So, but with a board, 45 years, as you said, and we're hitting the ground running. We announced a show last week in Germany, Rajik. That's sold out. This will sell out too. 7 fights. It's a great format that we brought in about 15 years ago, and it's been very successful. It's the first one we're doing on the zone, and look at it. We've got the young heavyweight. Is he? The guy who everybody said is heir to the throne. He's in with a guy who's had twice as many fights as he's had, never been stopped. The only 2 losses on his record was against a very, very good Dillian White, and also a former 2-time world champion, big puncher, Olympic gold medalist in AJ. So can he do what nobody's managed to do, and that's stop him?
Well, it's funny because obviously Moses being so young, not with any senior amateur pedigree either, but we are moving him up very quickly, and we are moving up in opposition that is fairly dangerous in Jermaine Franklin, goes the distance with a lot of Brits. What will you make of that fight?
Everything you said is correct, and we are doing that. And you can look at any of these really good quality heavyweights when they started off, and none of them turned pro or were fighting I can't think of too many. They were fighting pro when they were 20 years of age without any senior amateur experience. And then you look at what Moses done, you look at his resume, you look at the fighters he's fought. I think he's fought better quality fighters at that stage of his career than most heavyweights in my time in boxing, that's for sure. And he believes in himself. He really wants this fight. He wants 2026 to be his year. He wants that to be the year that he becomes the youngest Brit to ever win a world title. His birthday's on the 28th of December, when he'll be 21. So, this is a massive fight for him. It's a massive moment in his career, and we're going to find out a lot about him against a guy who's never been stopped.
Well, that's the thing. It seems like you've got the best heavyweight roster, and you've got people who most certainly put bums on seats, including Fabio Wardley, another great win. How exciting is it to have people like that in your roster and to keep making fights in 2026, especially with world champions up and coming?
Well, for me, being the old geezer, it's very, very exciting. All these fighters on our roster and the heavyweights, I think, I'm not sure about the top 13. I think 10 of them are, work with us. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting times. There's a guy out there that everybody wants to fight and beat in Mr. Usyk, who's again undefeated fighter as a pro, and next year's going to be there's going to be a lot of things happening. He's going to have to defend his title against Fabio. He's going to be ordered to do that. He's either going to do it or he's not. If he doesn't, then Fabio will be declared champion, and he'll be defending his title. He'll be defending the WBO title if that happens. So these are exciting times for all the heavyweights. That's why they're all jostling. That's why some people are avoiding fighting Moses, because they feel if they get beat, it sends them down the pecking order. It's just great for the heavyweights. It's never been so lively. It's the most liveliest division out there.
And have we got an update on Wardley versus Usyk?
We are waiting, and I think it'll be this week. It'll be ordered.
Just quickly, staying on Fabio Wardley, obviously with the story breaking about Joseph Parker, have you had a chance to have a chat with him about it, and what's your take on it?
No, I haven't. He called me today, but I was on the train and it was a bad connection. Look, he's going to have to supply his B sample. He's going to have to explain the situation. UCAD will have a hearing, and we'll see where we go from there. Until we get all that information, there's not really much can be said other than it's really disappointing, because that was such a great night. It was such a fabulous fight and an amazing fight. And as I say, for Joe Parker, he's the last person I would have thought would have been accused of this.
Talking about amazing fights, we did just recently have Eubank Ben 2. What's your thoughts on the actual fight itself, and what do you think may happen in terms of Chris Eubank going forward?
I don't know what happens going forward. I mean, he didn't give a very good account of himself, did he? He never weren't at the races. You look at Conor. Conor did what he had to do, which was to change his game plan and be more composed, and that's what he done. Worked behind his jab, and he won the fight. Chris didn't. All this nonsense about weight clauses and whatever. First of all, he signed the agreement. No one forced him to sign it. He had a lawyer, he had a manager, he had a trainer, and he had a promoter. And they decided that's what they'd do. And the fact is, it was an IBF title fight, and an IBF title fight, there are weight stipulations of what you can come in at and what you can weigh. So that's it. What he signed up for was that fight, and he got beat in that fight, and he just wasn't at the races at all. And he got very, very, very well paid. So it is what it is.
What are your thoughts on Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua? It just got announced for Netflix.
What are my thoughts on it? I think it's a fight that will generate a lot of viewing figures. The guys will get extraordinarily well paid for it. You've got AJ, who's obviously well known over here. In America, he's not got such a big profile, but Jake Paul certainly has, and lots of followers. It's a fight that I'm sure that AJ will go in as a massive favourite, former two-time world champion, naturally a natural big heavyweight, gold medalist at Olympic Games against a guy who never had any amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 pro fights? Been accused of not fighting decent opponents. Well, you've got to take your hat off to Jake Paul. He's stepping right up. He's going in with a live fighter, and you know it's going to be a tough night for him. I think he'll be a big underdog for obvious reasons, but he believes he can win it.
Congratulations on your award last night. I think the quote you said on stage was, Queensborough are all about developing young talent. Moses isn't just a young talent anymore. I'm assuming there's a bit of a roadmap there after Franklin. Could he fight maybe the winner of Gassiev Pulev, or is that dead?
He could fight anyone, provided they take it. You know, he's young still, but provided they take the fight, certainly it's not a problem. Not a problem at all, you know. But he's got to get through this one. This guy's, you know, Jermaine's had 27 fights, over double the amount of fights that Moses has had, and this is going to be a big moment for him. As I said, it started off there. Never been stopped in a fight. So this is a big moment for him.
Do you know how long it'll be till we get news on Daniel Dubois' return?
I hope we're going to come back with something within the next. I keep saying it every week, within the next couple of weeks, but we're working on a few things. And please God, we'll be in a position to make an announcement soon. So I want to see him back in the ring. He wants to be back in the ring with a live opponent.
Yeah, now last one, obviously Tyson Fury. I know it's all on Tyson Fury, but if you was to come back up to your team, Tyson Fury, would you want to see him almost have like a warm-up fight before an Anthony Joshua fight maybe in September?
Well, he's not going to wait around till September. If he's going to come back, I'm sure he'll want to fight before then, so that's what will happen.
Obviously, Frank, 45 years in the industry, what would you say is the greatest boxing accomplishment and moment that you've been a part of?
Oh, I've been blessed. I've been involved in so many great fights. I've had so many great moments and so many great fighters. It's difficult to pick one out, honestly.
Top three.
Pardon?
Top three.
Bloody hell. I've got to talk about fighters. You know, I look at Joe Calzaghe, who's a great fighter, probably one of the best ever British fighters. I'm talking about fighters who've retired at the moment. Naz, you know, great times with Naz. Tyson, you know, I did promote Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury, you know, them great fights he had. There's loads of them, and every one of those guys I've been talking about, every fight, every time, every one of them that won world title when they won, all went in as underdogs. All of them.
Frank, is Derek Chisora Dillian White dead, or is that still possible?
It's dead at the moment.
Do you know when Derek could possibly be out, or
Well, he could have been out in December, but it didn't happen, so we've got to see what happens.
was that a contractual issue then?
No, we didn't sign a contract. We agreed terms, and then terms got altered, not by us, and so we didn't sign a contract.
Frank, I just want to touch on the Saudi card that will be happening. You've got great fights in there with Yard and Sam Nodes, for example. That's a great fight with Mason. Does it seem like if a victory like that could push them to the world title fight?
With who?
With Noakes and Mason?
He is for the world. Oh, sorry, with that fight? Yeah, of course it was. I mean, Sam's an unbelievable fighter, and he's underestimated. You know, a good Sam Noakes will be a handful for he will be a handful for him. He's all action. He doesn't take a backward step, and he can punch. And he's got an unbelievable engine in him. So I'm looking forward to that fight.
And do you think he's underrated just because the division he's in, full of killers, full of sharks? But do you believe that he can come on top of that?
I believe he can win a world title. I really do.
Frank, obviously when you signed Moses Itauma, he never had a senior amateur belt.
Correct.
How much of a gamble was it when you signed him?
I'm a natural gambler. You know, I used to work at the races when I was a kid, so I'm a natural gambler. And for me, you know, we're still gambling. You know, we're still gambling until you actually win a world title. We're all gambling. Well, I'm gambling.
he's a very laid-back, quiet character.
He
He
is.
promoted, like you said, Lenny McLean, Tyson Fury, Naz, all these characters selling boxing. Moses lets his fighting do the talking. How big is that for him and his ability to base it based on purely his fighting?
I genuinely believe that the public love what they see with him. He's, everywhere I go, in the last few days we spent a bit of time at various functions, and there's queues of people keep asking for his autograph. He'll cross over very quickly.
Just quickly, Anthony Yard as well, going into, obviously in his case, the Lions Den, fighting David Benavidez. For me, he gave Artur Beterbiev the hardest fight he's had outside of Dimitri Bivol.
Yep.
What's your take going into the fight, and how much of a live dog do you think Anthony Yard is?
Well, this is his third chance, and could be his last chance. So he's in with a guy, 30-0, who's going to be a future Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. It's a tough fight. He's a tough fighter, and he believes in himself. And I hope he's learnt from his experiences in previously fighting for world titles. And I'll tell you something, he catches Benavidez, he'll know he's been caught.
Just quickly then, Eddie Hearn's been talking about the fact that him and His Excellency Teki Alishek are road mapping Anthony Joshua's return in 2026, and the conversations with Tyson Fury in terms of a September fight. Have you had any sort of conversation with His Excellency Eddie Hearn about a September fight at all at this moment?
No, there's been some talks going on, and that'll be announced in due course.
Frank, just really quickly, we've seen two shows obviously come to Scotland in 2025. What can we expect for 2026 up the top of the border?
You can be expecting some more great shows up there from us.
Is there any names like maybe a Collins Lorraine rematch? Or?
See what happens. With their man on the 24th. Brilliant.
Definitely. Also, Frank, what's sort of in the pipeline for the first quarter of 2026? Obviously, we've seen massive card.
We're announcing a couple more dates, probably next week. So you'll know that.
You mentioned Willie Hutchinson. He said he was fairly disappointed that he's gone from Josh Buatsi in his pipeline to now Ezra Taylor. He saw that as a step down. Why do you think this is such a good fight, especially a big for main event?
I think it's a good fight because of all the noise around, and a lot of people seem to think so as well. You've got two fighters who are both striving to get into a massive fight, and this is their opportunity to do it. Ezra's a good fighter. He's obviously just over 30 years of age now, so he knows he's got a motor quickly, and he sees that as an opportunity fighting Willie to jumpstart him into a massive big fight. And Willie just feels it's a fight that using his words, not mine, he said he's coming down. Well, we'll see about that, but it's a bloody good fight on a great card.
Frank, have you had any conversations with Vidal Riley and signing him into Queensbury?
On who?
Vidal Riley and signing him to Queensbury.
No, I personally haven't, no.
Would you like to see him in Queensbury?
Yeah, if he wants to come and see us, you've got our phone number and he's free agent, come and see us.
Lovely. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.